I keep wanting to make this video, and I finally decided, well, let's just do it today. We've got plenty of soap all around us. So one of the ways that I make sure to waste as little as possible when I'm making soap is to use these reusable wipes that I find at the Dollar Tree. They come in big sheets like this. So what I tend to do is I will cut these. You can cut them into little palm-sized squares, whatever would be useful to you. I like this size. Then when I'm done making my soap, I will take all of my containers and I will just wipe them out with this rag. Now you see all this soap on here? I can scrape and scrape forever, but there's always going to be a little bit left in here. So what I have found is with this, I can just take it and wipe every single little bit off. Now this is good for my septic system because when I go to wash these dishes, I don't want all of this soap going down my drain, right? So if I wipe it off, you can see there's almost nothing left. And then I take this and I can clean out my bucket here. And this just prevents me from having any buildup of soap in my drains. Now you'd think, oh, do I need to worry about soap in my drains then? Should I not use soap? No, using soap is totally fine. When you use a bar of soap, you're rubbing the surface of it, right? You're just getting a bare minimum surface mixed with water, lathered up. That's not going to do anything, but big globs of soap like this, especially in its liquid form, because then it turns to hard soap in your drains, that's not good. So by wiping it down, you reduce any amount of soap that goes into your sink. Now it would just be like using a bar of soap. It would just be that outside surface residue that would go down my drain. Now, once this rag is full of soap, of that liquid soap, I will set it out to saponify. So just like I'm going to set this liquid loaf of soap aside and it's going to harden and turn into solid soap, same thing is going to happen with this rag. Once it is completely full and saturated with soap, I will hang it out to dry. It will saponify in about 3 days, but I still like to let it sit out and make sure that all of the water has evaporated from it. Then what you'll have, if you see this rag, that's all soap, right? So you'll have a rag that's already loaded with soap. These are great to use for camping. They're great to put in emergency kits. So like, say you're out at the picnic with your family and you go into the restroom to wash your hands and there's no soap in the soap dispenser, which has happened to me many, many times. Well, if you have one of these in your glove box, you can pull it out, get a water bottle, add some water, and you'll work up suds in no time because this is full of soap. And because it's a rag, you can use it to exfoliate, to rub, to wipe, to clean things. And the rag is reusable too. Once it gets full and it stops soaking up the soap, I try to get as much into it as I possibly can. But then I'll just get a new one. I'll eventually hang this one out, but I'll get a new one and start over again. These are also great to give to homeless people or anyone you know that lives a nomadic lifestyle, just because they're great for on-the-go bathing, especially because they don't have to worry about keeping a bar of soap dry. You know, when you give someone a bar of soap, they kind of have to take care of it. They have to have a place to set it so that it can dry in between washes. Someone who's nomadic or homeless might not have that luxury, and even giving them slivers of soap can be a waste because unless they use that whole sliver up, what are they going to do with the remnants? It's going to go down a drain or in the garbage, which to me is a little wasteful. So that's why I love these little soap rags. So I'm going to finish cleaning up all my soap here. And then I have a couple of these rags that have already fully saponified and cured. So I will be back in just a little bit and I'll show you how they work under running water. One other thing I wanted to mention, don't use this rag to wipe off your lye dishes. I always keep my lye dishes as separate as possible from my soap dishes. Lye dishes, they only need to be rinsed with hot water. That's it. They'll be perfectly clean if you rinse them with hot water, unless they get oils in them, in which case you'll need to use detergent or soap to clean them up. You don't want lye, like raw lye that hasn't been emulsified with oils in these rags. That could cause harm to somebody's skin, and you would not want that on your conscience. I just wanted to show you how clean my dishes are after wiping them down with these rags. As you can see, they're really just gonna need a quick wipe down with some soap and water. And I have 2 rags full of soap and 1 rag with just a little bit in it, so I'll save this for the next batch of soap and fill it up. So let's go to the sink and use one of these saponified rags. I hope the lighting isn't too bad in here. This is my basement bathroom, but this is one of my rags that's full of soap. This one's really pretty because the soap was mostly blue. Most of my rags are gonna look like this. They look dirty themselves just because there's so many different colors mixed together. But let me show you how they work. So these are probably about 3 to 4 weeks old. So you just get them in the water here. And as you can see, this is quite blue. It was a very, very strong blue soap that I made, but see how bubbly that is? So you could use this for a whole body wash. I mean, you could use this whole thing in the shower over your entire body. You could just wet a little bit of it, use it for your hands, and then rinse it off. You could use it to wash all the kids' hands at camp, which when I go camping, there's always a ton of kids. But they're quite handy to have. And then if there's still soap in them, you can just hang them to dry and they've got more than one use in them. Because this one here is chock full of soap. Let's try this one here. But that's kind of handy to have, isn't it? I mean, a rag and soap in one. You don't have to worry about dropping the soap because it's slippery or anything like that. It's all included in your rag. If you wanted to make some of these for dishes when you go camping, you could just use the same kind of bar soap that you would make for dishes, which is 0% super fat, usually made with 100% coconut oil. And then you would have a wash rag to use on your dishes while camping. So anyway, I hope you guys find this tip useful and make yourself a couple of these rags to use when you're out and about too. Happy soaping!